life would be nothing without a woman or a girl, but it's sort of done in such a great, kind of manly way.
Has your perspective on that changed over the years?
No, still a man's world, pretty much. But it hasn't hindered my climb up the ladder of, climb sideways on the ladder of music and success in Australia. Anyway, it's a man's world, definitely. The hierarchy in the corporate world, which the music industry is now, is man-oriented. It's starting to change a little bit, and it's great. I prefer dealing with women than men, but it's still very man-oriented.
Because in the music industry, you're so dependent on what other people are thinking about you and saying about you and coming to watch you, and yet you're even harder on yourself than they are. I mean, you must battle with trying to keep a strong sense of self sometimes, and self-respect and ego, if you're even harder on yourself than other people are.
You do. You are balancing that all the time.
Because you're so possessed by one part of yourself, because that's such a focus of your life. It sends other parts of your life crazy. Is that what you mean?
Other parts of your life are just in turmoil. You're just a mess. You're just a blob of nothingness on any other level. A blob of mediocrity.
You don't seem like a blob of mediocrity.
I really am. I have one thing that I do absolutely amazingly, and I know that I'm really good at it. I can really carry a tune in the style that I have. I really think that I've come to an age where I've got the balance without having to now think about it, of not, over-emoting or being too mawkish, and just being able to get the essence of a song to somebody without showing a whole bunch of tricks and stuff, which, I don't even mind that so much, but it's something I've grown out of. And I'm really good at that. Everything else, trust me, I'm very mediocre. I have a messy sort of home life. It's fine, and I'm okay. No one has to sort of worry about me. But it's like, nothing is as organised as the way I run my singing life. So, it's the way it is.
So given that, do you have any regrets?
No. Because if I didn't go to that band rehearsal or join, start doing band singing and stuff, I truly think I'd be in a nut house. Because I've never fitted in with a normal sort of girl image. And in the 60s and 70s and the 50s when I was little and growing up, I never fitted in. I was always rebellious and too independent for my own good and tomboyish and
you never wanted to just grow up and have babies and...
I always fantasised about it, but then I'd go, in the end, I got pregnant many times in my life, and it's probably not, it's not nice for a lot of people to know, because I know there's a lot of right to lifers probably watching, but I've always thought that, no, I'm not ready. Just haven't been ready. And but the thought of it is wonderful. I would love to have a child. I would love to have a family and a picket fence, and because I've grown up in a middle-class Jewish family where all those things are what everybody wants, and so in one way I'm like that, but then I have this troubling dark streak that which has led me to be what I am now. And so I know that if I had have been corralled in the way that I was meant to go, I think they had a plan for me to go to university just to meet a husband, a nice Jewish boy, which a lot of girls did in those days. In the 60s, you would go to uni, maybe do 2 years of some subject and meet some guy and then...
Drop out.
And if I had gone that way, I'd have a really unhappy or dead husband, from me killing him or something, and unhappy children, and or I would be in a nut house, or I'd be dead from drugs or something like that.
Actually, I want to bring up back to the 70s.
Is this interview getting very maudlin?
No, not really.
We don't want it to get too dark, do we?
No, it's honest. It's good. It would have been dark if you'd gone the other way. Thank God for music. But I mean, back to, you mentioned drugs. I mean, in the 70s, was it as hedonistically drug-filled, sex-filled, crazy, wild fun as everybody tells us, my generation?
No. I think we had our moments, but they were, they were far and few in between. For me, anyway, I had some great times. There were the repercussions weren't as great as they are now. There were not that many deaths. AIDS wasn't a factor then. Drugs were not as taboo. And in the rock and roll business, it's a very odd job that you have. You are sedentary and kind of dormant all day, driving from town to town, because in those days you would just be constantly driving everywhere and doing nothing for the whole day and doing destructive things to your body, eating twisties. And then all of a sudden for 2 hours at night, you become this emotional, from the waist up athlete. And it's all about attitude, but you're trying not to be full on, so you're keeping back, but then you're emoting. It's natural, and it's all these things for 2 hours. It's an athlete's thing.
So they're like
and then-
performance enhancing.
Yeah, and then you're finished. Back to like, what are you going to do? You're going to, you've got all these fires have been lit in your body, and the show's over, but the fire's still burning. What are you going to do?
What drew you to the States, and how did you fit in there?
The music. The music is the reason I am there. I mean, I still have a love affair with America. I just can't afford to live there. It's too expensive, but the music comes from there, and I've learnt so much from the musicians that I've played with over there.
When you released an album there was, you fitted in so well, they thought you were a black singer, didn't they?
When I first got there, the album that we made, the first album that we made was with Polydor. Heading in the Right Direction was redone for there, and when black radio in the East, like Baltimore, Cleveland and New York, and when they heard that, they flipped and were playing it. This was in 76 or something. So Polydor flew me to New York to do this sort of massive radio tour and meet these people, but then they changed their mind and thought, no, and because it was black radio predominantly, and they thought that it would be good to release the album but without my picture on it. And at that time I thought, oh, how dare you? I'm me. I'm so proud to be me. I was such an idiot because it's business. I mean, I should have let them do what they wanted to do, and then it would have sorted out down the road, But I was just so proud, and I'm me, myself, and I, loving this music. So why should I hide? And sure enough, my record came out with my huge, big, wet-haired head on the cover, looking as pink and white as possible. And they dropped the song like immediately, because it was in the years before, George Michael and, Hall and Oates and things like that. So it was so funny. Retrospect, I should have listened to them, but these are the mistakes I've made.
Well, there's one regret maybe.
Yeah.
Your only regret.
Oh, there's a few of those.
So then you worked with some incredible people, didn't you? I mean, was it the dream that you hoped for? There was like Neil Diamond, Chaka Khan.
Well, before that, when I made the Stairs and Whispers album, Stevie Wonder, a mixture of Stevie Wonder's band and Rufus were my band, and so that was already for me a dream come true. They were playing on my record, and Joe Cocker, Chaka Khan, John Trudell, the American Indian activist, Buddy Guy, Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Brown.
Why'd you come home? What drew you home after all that?
Money. Not so much. No, not even money. I've always only come home when a record comes out here for me, and Difficult Woman came out, and it was really hard work. All those jobs, they sound like a lot of jobs, but I was there for 9 years, and these were really far and few in between. It was really hard to make a living. I'd have to come to Australia, do a little tour here, take the money back, and it would be, nearly half by the time you get back to America. And it was just really hard to live in the style that I wanted to live in America.
Do you feel split though? I mean, you've got really good friends there. I mean, the new album, you've got a song dedicated to your friends in America. So do you feel sort of this pull between the two countries
always
sometimes?
But I go back. I try to go back once or twice a year, and I'm on the phone with them all the time, and I'll get a computer and I'll do the email thing. But I miss them. But I'm happy. I'm so happy. I live in Melbourne, and I've never been more complete as a person as when I've lived in that town. So I think the world has gotten smaller, and I don't think it's a big thing anymore to just get on a plane and go to the States. And my friends are there, so I see them when they come here, and I go over there. So, I mean, I still see them, but
Yeah, it's a smaller
it's
world.
still not worth living there and being so broke. And so at 46 years of age, which I will be this year, it's not funny anymore. It's fine maybe 3 times, maybe even 4 times to sort of be struggling a little bit to pay your money every month, but not over and over and over again. You just need some certain stability, and I just seem to have it in Australia. And and in the end, I hate to admit it, sort of, I guess, but I'm a very Australian person. I like the realistic attitude of Australians and the sort of happy-go-luckiness, and I fit in with that, I think.
And you're working with Paul Kelly as a songwriter who's
That
got to
ain't
be
bad.
the songwriter that captures
He ain't
Australia.
chopped liver.
Sorry?
He ain't chopped liver.
Yeah,
He's good.
exactly. I mean, his songs, you can almost sort of smell Australia through them. It must be incredible to sing them and bring
That's a
them
great
across.
way of thinking of it. Yeah, you can. I mean, I honestly think he's, you know, it sounds all very grand, but, you know, who was the great poet of, like, Banjo Paterson or, you know, one of those guys
Yeah.
that you sort of immediately think and smell and look at Australia. And Paul's, like, really the first guy that did the urban, you know, contemporary Australia. And he just has that knack of painting those little pictures and making, exactly like you said, smelling it. Smelling, you know, Darlinghurst Road. I don't know if we want to smell it too long, but, you know, St Kilda to King's Cross. And,
yeah.
you know, amazing.
Yeah. Can you ever imagine a life or a future without music?
No. But I can imagine me not doing it as a living, but it'll always be around my house and stuff. But
So
I probably would be behind the scenes maybe doing it, but maybe not in front of the scenes for that much longer. Maybe 10 years or something. I don't know if I'd be doing it past 10 years. I don't think it's attractive to be up there wringing your heart out and old and tragic. I just don't think it's a good look. I think, I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I just, and maybe I'll change when I'm old, you know, older. Maybe I'll be like, well, hey, I'm still feeling like I can do this, but I'd like to do more production, and I could probably even manage the odd person. I think I'd be really good at that. I'm so bossy.
Well, I'm sure there's much we're still going to hear from you ahead. Thanks a lot for talking to us today.
Thank you, Sarah.